Hello, hello. Today we are going to talk about the best hair salon management software available these days. Because if you own a salon, you know that it is complicated to say the least. Scheduling clients efficiently, managing your retail inventory, these things are just the tip of the iceberg. You're also handling marketing, running reports, and so much more. But the good news is that choosing the best hair salon management software can make running your business day to day so much simpler. But this is where things can get kind of tricky, right? Because the right choice for one salon might not be the ideal choice for another. So today we're going to do a deep dive into the best hair salon management software options, paying special attention to factors like price, ease of use, and must-have features. I've also got them ordered based on who each is best for. So we're going to start with the options that are better for booth renters, independent booth renters, and single-chair salons, working up to medium, large, and multi-location salons. And the five that we are going to be looking at today are Zoho Bookings, DaySmart Salon, Mangomint, Aura, and Boulevard. Let's get into it. So starting here with Zoho Bookings. I really like Zoho Bookings because this is a really great starter option. Whether you are new to booth renting or owning a single chair salon, this is really kind of the first step, and I like it because you can get everything you need without being overwhelmed and already bogged down by all these other things that you don't need to be thinking about just yet. And, technically this software is compatible with salons that have multiple stylists or even multiple locations, but I think it's best used by solo stylists, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. First thing I want to start with is that the features here with Zoho are everything that you would expect and hope to get with a salon booking software. So every single person that you book into your calendar, every client is going to have their own client profile, so you can track notes, past appointments, previous purchases, anything like that. In this appointment scheduling functionality, you can also set up your working hours so that you never have to worry about someone booking at a time when you're not actually in the salon. Or alternatively, if you're concerned about stylist overload and you want to build in breaks or make sure you're only behind the chair for a set number of hours each day, you can program all of that in here and it'll be mindful of that for you. And the pricing is honestly pretty affordable for what you get. So we've got our basic at $6 a month, and then we've got the premium at $9 a month. And this is by far the most affordable compared to anything else that we are going to be looking at today. The $6 a month is going to cover booking functionality for one user or stylist. For the $9, you get a few added things like online payment integrations, revenue reports, and the ability to tie your online booking system to your own website domain if you're at a point where you have your own website. Now, getting back to those integrations that I mentioned a bit ago that make this a better fit for solo stylists versus a full team of stylists are, for example, one thing you get is WhatsApp and text message integration, which sounds great, but imagine you've got multiple users, multiple phone numbers, multiple WhatsApp accounts. Functionality does exist in here to account for that, but it can get a little bit messy. Another thing to think about is, say you and all of the stylists at the salon are using this. Who owns the plan? Who pays everybody else? Because all the users are tied to the same single credit card and same payment. So for that reason, I prefer Zoho for solo stylists. So overall, the pros of Zoho, I would say, are it's a really simple, straightforward user interface. You can see right here that what you get is your week view. You can see every specific client that you have booked. You can color code so that you know exactly what services you're doing at a glance. And you can back out and see the month view, and that'll also show you what you have going on. It's available on desktop and mobile devices, as you can see here, so you can check it from your phone. I always love that. It's even got a few optional marketing features. If you want to go that route as your business grows, you can do that natively from here in Zoho Bookings. But as for cons, the basic tier, and I think this is really important, the basic tier here does not include payment processing. So you're either going to need a separate app right out of the gate, or you're going to need to sign up for the premium in order to be able to actually get payments from your clients. I think that's pretty huge. Also, in my experience, honestly, the customer support here can be a little bit lackluster. Fortunately, you're not doing anything too complicated with this, so I didn't really find myself needing customer support very often. But when I did, it was a little bit hard to get, and I felt like what they said back to me was a little bit scripted. It can be time-consuming if you have a true issue to get it resolved here, even though it does happen rarely. The last thing that I want to be clear about here is that the desktop app for Zoho has a few features that haven't been added to the mobile app yet. So there might be times where you're doing something on desktop and you're like, great, I'm going to finish this at home on my phone. And then you can't. So that's another little pet peeve I have, but you can't beat this price, right? Overall, this one is ideal for newer independent stylists who just need basic appointment booking and payment functionality. The UI is super simple and free of the more complex bells and whistles that you just don't really need yet when you're starting out. Okay, and the second option that we're going to look at today is DaySmart Salon, which used to be known as Salon Iris if you ever used that one back in the day. They were around in the early 2010s, and now they have combined with DaySmart to form DaySmart Salon. Above all, the real claim to fame with DaySmart here is that they want everything to be fully customizable. So you can see even right here, you can click on what your specific business setup is, and they'll drop you in a page that shows you what functionalities they kind of have set up out of the box if that is the route that you want to go. But you're also not locked into any of these things. Everything here is fully customizable. You can make it look, act, behave however you want. And that's true for everything from the way that the appointment booking looks here, to the way that you run your reports, to the way that your branding appears when people leave you reviews or book online. And there are all kinds of functionalities with this one, which I love. For example, you've got client waivers built in, online booking, of course, automated confirmations and reminders. There's even built-in two-way texting with clients, which I appreciate. And payment processing, of course, for taking payments from people. Now, despite all of that functionality, the dashboard itself is very simple to use. You can look around and see that the calendar is designed to have enough white space that you won't get overwhelmed, but you can still see everything at a glance, which is nice. You can sort by day or by the employees, which are pretty standard features for appointment booking software these days. And you can jump around days as well. But then there's a few other little things I like this little button here that you can click to go however many weeks out you want. We've all tried to do the math on the fly right at the end of a long day and you're trying to figure out when is 6 weeks out from now for this retouch. You just click it and you're there. It's also got this nice little waitlist feature that if anybody calls in and you just want to see if you can fit them in, they're right there present. So again, you're not at the end of the day realizing, oh, I never looked back at that waitlist, because I think we've all been there too. DaySmart is also aware that a lot of people like to double book. So if you want to program it so that while color is processing, you can fit a haircut or something in there, that functionality is built in and you don't have to finagle it or work around it like you might have to with other software. And they really just were so thoughtful, like all these little icons that show you who's confirmed, who's completed any forms. They seem to really understand what the moment-to-moment experience of being a hairdresser is and how crucial it is that you truly have everything at a glance. Now, as for pricing, this one is for sure a bit of a step up over Zoho Booking. So the basic for just a solo stylist would be $29 a month, but it comes with a lot of things that Zoho doesn't have right out of the gate. So the automatic reminders, Instagram and Facebook booking built in, and integrated payment processing with the lowest tier right off the bat. And these tiers continue all the way up to premium for $199 a month. And that gives you 6 users, QuickBooks connection, marketing tools, and much, much more. What I like about DaySmart and what I enjoyed when I was using it in my salon was being able to have something that truly grew with us. At no point did we feel like, oh gosh, I'm paying all of this money and I'm not even using half of these features. And at no point was it like, oh, I just need this one more feature, but that's the next tier up and it's so much more money. This one is really meant to be adjustable and customizable to the point that you need it to be. And that is just so necessary in this day and age. Other pros of DaySmart include, I find it really easy to use even if you don't consider yourself to be tech smart. It's very intuitive. It's also extremely customizable to your specific preferences and workflows. So if there's any report that you don't need or any feature that doesn't really work with your workflow, you can just essentially get rid of it from your view and it won't be in the way again. And in my experience, clients find it very simple to book online and fill out their forms before appointments. And that can be so hard to find with salon software, right? As something that works well for both the stylist and the client. I appreciate that. There are some cons to be aware of though. Certain functionalities can be slightly glitchy at times. And so, if it's the middle of a Saturday and it doesn't want to ring up the payment or attach the payment to the color service, which has happened, that can be a little panic-inducing. So be aware that there are moments of glitchiness sometimes. And on top of that, customer service with these guys can be a little bit hard to reach. Sometimes they're immediate, which is awesome, but other times you're kind of sitting on your hands just anxiously waiting, and that's no fun. Lastly, setup for this one can be a bit time-consuming. Like once you're using this and you're in the flow of it, it works really well. But for example, setting up the services that each stylist offers, that can take some time. So be aware that this isn't going to be something that you sign up for and are, using the very next day. You're going to want to set aside some setup time. But with that in mind, DaySmart works really well for independent stylists who know exactly what features they do and don't need to run their business. And it's an excellent choice for small to mid-sized salons that know they want marketing integrations to maximize profits, because there's a lot of good marketing stuff built in with this too. such as text marketing and email, just as one example. You can also manage reviews through this software and even do a little website builder. So it truly is as big as you want to take your business and as public and out there as you want to make it. This will let you do that. The last thing I want to say about this one, though, is that even the top pricing tier for premium here has a maximum of 6 users. So at a certain point, if you want to have more than 6 team members or stylists, this is not going to be an option anymore. And I just like to call that out. Now, after DaySmart is Mangomint, which is a really big name in the space right now. Their customer service is renowned for not just being responsive, but genuinely helpful. Like, their team 100% understands just how quickly a glitch like that payment one I just mentioned can derail a day's productivity. And outside of the customer service, the software itself is really thoughtfully designed. You can see in this carousel here that they really cared about white space, which just means the literal white space. Your eyes aren't totally panicked trying to find what you need, whatever that might be here. And despite its simple appearance, it's got functionality for everything you might need, such as online booking, a point of sale system, managing inventory, revenue reporting, and much more. It also integrates with quite a few modern apps and systems, so that makes it one of the more flexible options available these days. Now, in terms of features, there is a whole lot that you can pay for, but what all is included depends entirely on which tier you go for. You can pay for some of these extra features and integrations like a la carte, but also keep in mind that that adds up fast. So let's take a look at the pricing. And as you'll see, the lowest tier here is another big step up from the lowest tier of DaySmart because of the different configuration of how this package works. You'll see that you get unlimited SMS and email notifications. That's not something that you get with the DaySmart pricing. So you are paying for a bit of customer connection and client relationship building with this, and I suggest that you utilize that tool if you're going to go with Mangomint. Now, the smaller tier has a max of 10 service providers, but 2 to 10 is still a pretty good range. And then the next one is up to 20, so this is another one that can really grow with you as you go. And then you'll notice that as you go up in tiers, of course, you get access to more features. So their signature express booking feature, their virtual waiting room, memberships, and the express booking feature, it basically takes clients through an express booking essentially. It'll collect their info, it'll kind of find times that you're free to try to fill your calendar so that you aren't left with all these dead spots between certain appointments. Just tries to kind of streamline what is normally a pretty big headache for us stylists, and I appreciate that. Now, up here at the unlimited tier, you get unlimited service providers, advanced features, and this is for people and businesses who are really looking to scale. You get a Shopify integration if you're trying to sell, for example, merch or other things in an online store, custom APIs if you have your own kind of custom things that you want to plug into Mangomint. That's all available on that tier. So overall pros of Mangomint is that even with all of this functionality and option, it's still a very streamlined, user-friendly layout. You don't need to be tech savvy to use this one. The customer support is also really well known for being responsive and genuinely helpful, not just reading off a script. They'll listen to you and help you. And then clients, meanwhile, find it really easy to book online and check in for appointments, which is always great. And the software includes tools for tracking shifts, managing staff schedules, and maintaining retail inventory. So it really addresses everything that comes up with running a salon. You're not going to need to necessarily piecemeal 6 or 7 things together the way you might need to with a cheaper software option. But for cons, there are a few. If your team has diverse needs, say you've got people whose schedules fluctuate or change a lot week to week, trying to program that into Mangomint can be a little tricky or a little time consuming. I also find that paying for extra features and integrations, even if you have the essentials tier, can add up fast. So you really need to think about what you need, how soon you need it, and if it's going to be more affordable to do, for example, the standard plan versus adding on the things you need to the essentials plan. I find that this one is not particularly affordable for smaller businesses. If you do have 2 or 3 stylists, $165 a month for the most basic features and for unlimited marketing options with the SMS and email notifications, probably not your biggest concern. So I would say this one is really best for medium-sized businesses, whether you're looking to grow or you just want to maintain your current sales volume and streamline day-to-day operations. And you'll see that this one is specifically designed for teams. There is no individual option here. So if you are a solo independent stylist, I would go with something else. Now, the fourth one we're going to look at today is Aura Salonware. Aura's been around for a few years now, and just in mid-2024 combined with Rosie Salon software. Aura is a little bit unique in the hair salon software space because they are 100% focused on data-driven, tech-forward design. We've talked in the past 3 that we've addressed so far, all have pretty intuitive UIs. They're meant to be very clean and very simple. It's kind of the opposite here, but if you are the type of business who really leverages your data and reporting, this can be a huge benefit. You get access to KPIs that you don't get to see with other software options. So like I said, they offer not just the basic inventory management, point of sale reports type of thing, but also this really great KPI dashboard, which shows you all of the metrics you want to see in one place, and it's customizable. So whatever you want to see there, you tell it, and that's what it'll show you. You don't have to dig through things that don't matter as much to your business right now. You can also get staff performance insights right from that same dashboard. So if you're curious about if your scheduling is exactly as optimized as it could be, how product sales are going, anything like that, you can just with a few clicks get that all pulled up instead of having to cross-reference multiple reports like you might have to with a different software. And as you can see from this language, they really take a data-driven business point of view. They want you to have a full business overview from any given moment so that your day-to-day decisions back up your long-term goals. And knowing how much of a whirlwind the salon environment can be, I think this is a really fantastic feature. And even the scheduling features are designed for productivity at scale, because this software also includes that double booking tool. So if, for example, you want to do a haircut while you've got a color sitting or anything like that, you can make that happen and keep your display very clean. And it takes it one step further where you can automatically assign assistants to people on your teams so that everything stays very clean and you can really map out how long a service will truly take. You can price based on experience. And you can even add custom booking intervals. So if you really just need that 5 minutes between clients to catch your breath, you can build that in instead of having to do the manual clicking and dragging of the finicky little appointment box like you do with other tools. And because this one is designed for enterprise operations, scale operations, of course there is multi-location management built in here too. Now, all of that said, people tend to find this tool pretty intimidating when they first encounter it, which I do understand. We take a look at the inventory management, for example. This is what your dashboard will look like. And if you aren't already familiar with spreadsheets or tables being nested in spreadsheets, which, let's be honest, most stylists aren't, this can be a bit overwhelming. Even figuring out what these mean over here, it's not going to be the most intuitive to the non-tech savvy person. So if you're going to opt for Aura, I highly recommend that you make sure everybody that is going to be interacting with it and using it, so not just you, not just stylists, but front desk staff, anyone like that, gets the time to train with it, familiarize themselves with it, because there is a lot of power at your fingertips here, and if everybody understands how to utilize it properly, you're going to be able to do so much. It's just that steep learning curve that you have to get past. And you probably won't be surprised to hear that the pricing with Aura works a little bit differently than other softwares, because the way they do things is a little bit differently. You'll see that every single tier includes unlimited providers. So to me, this is really not the best value to, say, even a five stylist team. I think that there are other tools that will give you almost as much data with much more freedom and streamlined user interfaces. So with that said, instead of it being more providers that you get with each tier, it's more features. So for example, this one also offers two-way texting with clients, but you only get that if you're up on the Fierce tier. You'll also see that a lot of marketing options are built in here too. So 8K text, 3K emails versus these texts, you only get auto notifications, no two-way, and you only get 1.5K emails. You also get client forms and waivers here, which can be super handy to have, but again, for a price increase of $150 a month, is that worth it? Or is it more worth it to go with one of the other options, right? Lastly, the Ferocious tier comes with everything that the other two have, but also gives you the option to add classes and memberships. I know classes might not seem like the most immediately intuitive option for a hair salon, but depending on who you serve, I worked at salons where we teach braiding classes to help parents learn to braid their kids' hair. You could do nail painting classes, blow drying classes. There are a lot of things that you can teach your clients that they would love to have a hairdresser's insights on. Beyond that, memberships, whether you want to do like a spa type of membership where they pay for 3 massages at once or 3 color services at once, you get that ability to get this new channel of income coming in with the Ferocious tier. And if you utilize it well, that small price increase there could very easily pay for itself if you work these memberships right. So as much as I like Aura, and I like all the vast amounts of data and functionality, there are some things to be aware of. Yes, the customer support is great. It kind of needs to be because, again, this is a harder one to learn, and I don't know anybody who has chosen this one who has not found themselves on the phone with support in the first week just trying to make sure they fully understand everything. And they have built-in payment options that can securely store credit cards and charge no-shows to kind of protect that revenue for you too. Another thing to keep in mind is that if you have a lot of users on your current software and you're looking to switch, swapping to the lowest tier here, the fearless one with unlimited providers, might actually be a pretty good savings for you starting out. But I cannot stress enough that you need to be prepared for the steep learning curve, and to also know that a lot of the must-have features like the two-way texting are not included in the cheapest tier. So really look at what you need and what you want before you sign up. Because the last thing with this one is that you are required to sign a 1-year contract in order to get started. And you just want to make sure that you're signing up for exactly what you need, nothing that you don't, if you're going to lock yourself in for a year. So in terms overall of who should use Aura, it's really best for mid to large size salons that are 100% focused all in on data and who aren't afraid of a complex user interface. If you find yourself often wanting to simplify or automate inventory restocks, pull up a staff member's performance at a glance, or elevate client engagement, Aura is going to give you a lot of the enhanced tools that you need. And now finally, let's talk about Boulevard. Boulevard is great because they really have thought about every facet of salon ownership. It's not just appointment booking software, not just payment processing, not just anything. It's really every single thing that you think you might ever want as a hairdresser or salon owner rolled up into one convenient package. And as someone who has spent a long time figuring out integrations and what the cheapest way is to marry everything together, the simplicity of Boulevard is really nice. It's hard to find that anywhere else. Because it can also serve as your inventory tracker, your payroll system, your client communication portal, and your point of sale system. So no more paying for 3 or 4 additional tools and trying to get them to all talk to each other, like you would need to with Zoho Bookings, the first one we talked about, for example. One of my favorite things about Boulevard that's kind of unique to it is this front desk view that you get when you first log in. So you can see everyone that's confirmed for the day, anyone who's unconfirmed, and if anyone is running late for an appointment, you'll see that there. Once people have been checked in and completed their services, you'll see that over here too, and so it makes it a true at a glance. Now beyond the front desk view, you can of course also do the calendar. The nice thing about the calendar is that it is color-coded, which I adore. You might not have noticed here, but see how every client has a color here? That corresponds to the person that they are booked with, which really helps again with that at-a-glance looking. And here you can see everyone's specific appointments. You can see if they've confirmed or not. And even just clicking one person's name, you can see all kinds of quick details on them. So you can see they've never no-showed, their average visit, everything like that. And of course, you've got the waitlist function here as well, so you can keep that going and always be aware of it as your day is progressing. I just think it's so important to have that somewhere easy to access, no matter what software you're using. Now, coming into clients, you can see all of the details that you would hope to be recorded. You can see what they've opted into for marketing. You can see those same details that we saw in that pop-up window a moment ago, but then you can also come in here and look at products that are purchased. You've got forms and charts if you want to add in any kind of notes or anything like that. You can even do files, which is really great if someone brings in, say, a reference photo or anything like that. You can just attach it to their account and it'll never get lost. I love that. And then reporting gives you anything you could possibly want right here at your fingertips. We've got these ones built in here, just kind of some standard ones, time clock summary, subscriptions to see the recurring sales metrics there, operator activity, all the way down to daily summary. And this is nice because you can add whatever report you want and you can customize the columns, the details. So while these look pretty standard, if there's anything specific you want to track or anything broad, you can set that up and not have to spend time regenerating it every single time you want it. We've also got multi-location functionality here, and it is that simple to swap between locations if you should want to. So whether you've got them on opposite coasts or within a short drive of each other, it's easy to keep a finger on the pulse of what's happening where and when. Now let's talk about the pricing for Boulevard. So we're pretty much right in line with what we were seeing for the other really data-driven, really customizable software options that we talked about earlier. So we've got the Essentials for $176 a month or $158 a month if you go with the annual payment. And then we've got Premier at $293 and Prestige at $410 with, again, the annual discounts if you opt for that. You will notice that Essentials doesn't include a few functionalities that you may want as you grow, such as a loyalty program. That one is missing from over here. Mid-range Premier is going to include just about everything that you could really want, honestly. Prestige is great for when you are truly ready to scale and become an enterprise like Juggernaut, but I find that Premier is a great sweet spot. So you get a few things that you don't get with Essentials. Shared memberships, group booking, things like that. Resource scheduling, which is a nice thing to have. Resource being if you've got, say a hood dryer, a pedicure chair, anything like that, that you don't have one per stylist, you can add that in here. And that is a real bit of peace of mind to know that that's accounted for. And then as you get into the higher tier, you get a little bit better with your inventory management to kind of automate that and make that simpler, such as purchase orders, which is really going to save you a lot of time. And now as for the Prestige plan, that includes pretty much all of the same features as the Premier plan, but where it really takes off is with the marketing options. So you'll see that you only get 1,000 email blasts per month with the mid-tier, and that goes up to 10,000 here. So if you are in a position where you are ready to do marketing, or you already are, especially if you've got multiple locations, this is really the key to growth and becoming a household name in your locale. So overall, I would say, just my experience, the pros of Boulevard are that it's really easy and intuitive to use. Looking at all of this compared to, say, Aura, I find this so much more readable. And I do like Aura, but it's got that learning curve. And there are certain people I've worked with who just never really got the hang of Aura, whereas I haven't worked with anyone who doesn't jive with Boulevard. The customer support with Boulevard is also quicker and a bit more responsive than with other platforms, which I really appreciate. And then they've got their signature precision scheduling, which is a tool that automatically fills gaps in your calendar to maximize productivity and keep you from sitting around between appointments. Overall, I find that it makes organization and salon management really straightforward and really efficient because, again, you're not having to click between multiple apps or juggle multiple logins. Everything just natively lives right here, even if you have multiple locations, and I just think that is so cool. As far as cons with this one, there's not a whole lot. You can book a free demo to see everything, but there's no option for a free trial right now. You can just see the demo and ask your questions that way. The features are also not 100% customizable, so if one doesn't work exactly the way you want it to, there's not a whole lot you can do about that. That said, like I was saying, the reports are so customizable that it is very, very rare that there is anything I want to do that I can't do exactly the way I want to. That's not so much a thing. And then lastly, as I pointed out, certain features are only available at a higher price tier, not a la carte. But the jump between tiers is not as big as it is with other softwares, so I find that to be a little bit more approachable. In terms of who should use Boulevard, it's fantastic for medium to larger businesses who know which features they need and are sick of juggling multiple software options. I will say if you have less than 5 service providers at your salon, you may not get the maximum value out of this one that you could. It certainly will work with less providers if you have less than 5, but it is designed for slightly bigger, multi-location operations. So to recap, the best hair salon management software is going to depend a little bit on who you are, what your goals are, and what your business size is right now. Zoho Bookings is best for new independent stylists who are still settling into business ownership and need something simple. Mangomint is best for salons in that in-between phase who have outgrown Zoho Bookings but aren't ready for something more complex yet. DaySmart, I find, is best for independent stylists or smaller salons, less than 4 stylists, who want to minimize the need for front desk staff and automate all of that as much as possible. Aura is going to be perfect for mid to large size salons with staff who are comfortable using a tech-forward interface. If you find that anyone on your team is not tech savvy, it could be a bit of a struggle for them. And Boulevard is best for salons mid to large size that are dedicated to scaling and who need an all-in-one solution to support achieving their business goals. And so I hope that helps you make your decision or at least narrow down your options a bit. If you have any specific questions or want to learn more about any of these, feel free to drop a comment. Or if you have a favorite not mentioned here, I'd love to hear about it.